If you read House in the Cerulean Sea and fell in love with Linus Baker, Arthur Parnassus, and their little found family of magical kids, first, same here. But second, this sequel is definitely a worthy return. Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune picks up right where the first book left off. We're back with Linus, Arthur, and their 6 foster children, magical beings who live in a world where people like them exist alongside non-magical humans. And they don't always get the warmest welcome for it. Following the events of Cerulean Sea, Arthur is preparing to testify against extremely upper management and Dykemy, the department in charge of magical youth, for their mistreatment of magical children. And on top of all of that, they might be welcoming a new child into their home, a 10-year-old Yeti named David. Now, here's where the book feels different from the first one. The House in the Cerulean Sea was primarily Linus's story. It was his journey to find love, family, and the courage to reject the institutions that had defined his life up to that point. It had weight, but it also had a lightness to it and a lot of humor. Somewhere Beyond the Sea is more Arthur's story, and Arthur is carrying a lot of unresolved anger, a traumatic past, and the ongoing process of accepting his dual nature as both a man and a phoenix. That shift means that we spend significantly more time sitting in darker emotions and harder consequences. The tone here is definitely heavier. Klune's not being subtle here either. He's not trying to be. The themes of prejudice, fear-mongering, propaganda, and trauma that ran through the first book are still very much present here, but now we're seeing them play out on a larger scale against the backdrop of the wider world. And in contrast to that wider world, the nearby town has become something really special, not just accepting, but a genuine haven for magical folk to come to. What keeps this book from feeling heavy in a way that becomes exhausting is the hope that runs through every page, even the darker sections. There's this sense of defiance in it, that despite everything arrayed against this family, there are people who will stand with them. The optimism never disappears, it gets there differently than it did in book 1. The House in the Cerulean Sea was one of my favorite reads of last year, and I think this sequel is a worthy continuation of that story. I wouldn't rate it as highly as the first, but if you loved Cerulean Sea, this is absolutely a must-read. These characters are ones that I'm genuinely happy to spend time with again and again. I also recently found out there is a 3rd book coming to close out the trilogy, so I'll get to see how all of these stories resolve, and I can't wait for that. So, have you read this one? Let me know what you thought, especially how you felt about the shift to Arthur's perspective from Linus's, because I'd love to hear about it.